Emily and Raydodd, welcome to the show. I'm so grateful, so honored to have you. Before we actually hit record, we have had some healthy discussion just about marriage, faith, family, our children, books you would recommend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm beyond honored that you would do this. This takes a tremendous amount of courage for you as a couple. It's one thing when we go to get married and they say through sickness and health, till death do us part, until you're tested. And I just want you to know it's very hard to capture this story in words. That's why what you're doing when you are able to come on here and be vulnerable and showcase courage, that's what this is all about. And like we had talked about before, this is like a time capsule. It's very important to me and very important to Alex that we preserve your personal history, your legacy, so that your girls, as they grow up and they're old enough to watch this, they take a step back and they say, wow, those are my parents. Those are my parents. I'm so proud of them. And it carries them forward into the future. You showcase exactly what it looks like to not just love, but battle through adversity together. And when you're hit with some unexpected news, you make a choice to engage in faith and strength, even though that there's been a ton of questions along the way. That's what I love the most. So thank you both for being here. With that, what I'd like to do is give you a proper introduction. And then I have a question just to start the show off. And that question comes from our Patreon members. They're our top supporters. You know, we're an independent studio. And I love starting the show off with a question. And from there, we'll transition really into your love story. There's love in this story. There's pain. There is triumph. It's all the good things that make up an Oscar-worthy movie. And I can't wait to get into it. So let's start with your intro. And no offense, Raydodd, but spotlight's on you today, Emily. And
understood.
And of course, I want to dive into what you felt in that moment when you heard the news as well, and what you went through as a husband, because that's incredibly important for those that are watching. But here we go. Raydodd and Emily Hester are dedicated partners in family, community, and service. Emily, a former public school teacher and librarian for the Little Rock School District, is passionate about education, literacy, and creativity. As an avid crafter and reader, she fills their home with warmth and unforgettable memories for their two daughters. So I want to pause there. And we were having a discussion before we kicked off the show about books. Reading is currency in my house. Not reading that is prescribed by school, but like you go to find a book, you sit and read. You're not on technology. Currency in my world is time, because they print more money. They don't print more time. And my children are always begging for more time on activities that they feel like is a gift in the moment. My daughter picked up The Alchemist last night, which is a great book. It is a great book on finding one's destiny, and it's in a story form. But for you, because of your education history and being a librarian, what's that go-to book?
Well, I said Duck on a Bike for fun. For fun,
okay.
Yes, for fun. If you want to cry with your children, you can read I'll Love You Forever.
That's that one tugs at the heart.
Yes.
Yes.
There's just so many. Just the other day, I read a Mrs. Wishy-Washy. Ask any kindergartner if they know Mrs. Wishy-Washy, and they probably do. But it's just fun. It's something we do together.
What is the book with the girls, like, that has been your go-to book? Like, especially when they were younger.
Oh, well, we always read them. Is it Arlo Needs Glasses?
Arlo Needs Glasses.
Arlo Needs Glasses.
They love that book.
It's never what you think it would be, but for them it was Arlo Needs Glasses, which was the book that's gotten torn up, and we've had to tape it back together.
Their uncle's an ophthalmologist, so he got them the book, and it's got glasses and that you can pull out and put on the little dog Arlo.
Yeah.
And it's from Arlo's, the dog's perspective.
What is your favorite book as a dad? Do you have one?
I always liked Goodnight Moon, and I don't know why.
Yes.
It was just, and the girls always liked it because it was so random as to what you were saying goodnight to. And I just...
Oh, I know. Their sweet little voices reading it.
Yeah.
For the girls, how old are they now?
Almost 9.
Almost 9.
And we have a newly 11-year-old.
A newly 11-year-old.
Yes.
Do you have a bedtime ritual with them?
Yes.
You do? Like
it changes.
It changes. Ours has changed, right?
Yes.
Like we have a prayer that we say before they go to bed, but it's changed. And do y'all have something similar in the home? Because I know faith is very important to the family.
Yeah.
Well, just going, spending time, kissing them goodnight, like putting them in the bed. Even our older one, who now she puts herself to bed, we still see her, make sure she's had things are good.
Because the oldest goes to bed before I do. So,
no, after you do.
No, after I do.
Yeah.
Yes, after I do.
You wake up
after
early.
you do.
Yes. But the younger one, we're about the same time.
Yes.
But they have all their little stuffed animals. I mean, they get snuggled in.
Yes. But reading is how we wind down the day. Now the older one, she reads to herself, and I love that. I love that she ends her day reading, away from the screens, away from everything else.
Well, I'm an avid reader. I love reading. My kids hear it all the time. Leaders are readers. They get sick of me saying that. And it's just, I love getting lost in a book, and I want them to be lost in the book. My mind thinks in pictures, so I see when I read in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really pick up reading. I'm talking about like falling in love with reading until I was 20. And I want them to fall in love with reading a lot earlier than that. It wasn't really stressed. And I'm wanting it to be fun for them, if you will. So switching to you, Raydodd, you're a commercial loan officer and a natural connector of people. I would agree with that. Thrives on building relationships in both business and life. As treasurer of the Arkansas Crisis Center, which we'll talk about here briefly, he is committed to supporting mental health resources and giving back to his community. Together, they create a home centered on love, learning, and meaningful connections, always striving to leave a lasting impact on those around them. My man, talk to me about the Arkansas Crisis Center, why you're involved, why it's so important to you, the mission you all have.
So with the Arkansas Crisis Center, their biggest mission is the 988 crisis line, where, even if you need help with resources of finding a therapist, or you are to a point to where you have a gun to your head, it's a big range of who the callers are. And also they recently pushed out the text and chat, where you can either on the computer, you can chat, or you can just text 988. And that's been pushed out the last couple months. And that's really, we've had a lot of teens and even preteens, and we've actually reached more children or more youth, meaning under the age of 18, in the last couple months than we have in the last couple years. And that's just remarkable. And it really is an eye opener of, okay, we got to do more. And we are, and we're, hiring more specialists that can be handling those text and chat. But for me, there's been mental health issues in my own family, and having a strong mental health is very important to me. And with our children, the one that's 11 and one that's about to be 9, I want them to have the resources, or their friends to have the resources for mental health. I hope we do a good enough job where we can identify that in the home, but you might not, or they have a friend that they can refer that to. And one step further, a lot of school shootings are very elaborate suicides, and that's unfortunate. And and by the time you get to that point, there could have been a lot of steps to prevent that. And then the Crisis Center, they're doing more education to schools and businesses to teach them, hey, these are the things you need to look for before it does get to to that last desperate moment. So that's why I enjoy working with them.
It's something that is near and dear to my heart. I mean, me having Ava, who's 12, going to be 12 in May, 13 in May, and then Landon's going to be 12 in May. There's a phenomenal book out there, and it's a tough read probably for some because it's built around academia. But there was two professors that came together from opposite ends of the spectrum, but could agree on the political spectrum. But they could agree on this, and they came. And it's fact. I like statistics. I like fact base. It's called Coddling the American Mind. And for anybody that's watching and or listening, I recommend you picking this up, especially as a parent, but just in general. And then, of course, The Anxious Generation, that book, profound. But they really highlight, since the inception of social media and the smartphone, the statistics that fall in line with where we are today, especially around young women, and comparisons the thief of all joy. They see their friends posting stuff on Instagram, and then, of course, young men being desensitized to violence, and they unpack all that. And so I just highly recommend, because it's the game is different than when we were growing up. It is much different than we were growing up, but I would love to unpack more of that later. So thanks for what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, just transitioning to Emily, to me, this is about resilience that is born through adversity, your story. There's so much to it, and I can't wait to get into it. It's about also all you women that are out there watching and listening. It takes a tremendous amount of courage for someone to come on this show and put their story out there. The good, the bad, the adversity. I never want to say the ugly, because honestly, when the unthinkable happens, it's in that moment that you have a choice to make. And so that's where I'd like to start, is with that question. And I want you to take us back to when you received the news about your diagnosis. Okay. What went through your mind and what emotions wrapped around your heart. Okay. And then Raydodd, of course, I want you to tell your side of it as well. But let's start there, and then we'll transition into your two's love story, and then we'll go back to the diagnosis and what happened after that.
Okay. Well, I think it's really important to know that I was 39 years old. That's key, because women, as we know, don't receive their first mammogram until they're 40. Mm-hmm. And mine actually wasn't scheduled until, August?
That following August.
Yeah, that following August. So it was a ways, it would have been a long time out.
Did you find a lump, or what prompted you to go get a mammogram?
No, I had soreness kind of under my armpit. Mm-hmm. My armpit was kind of bothering me, and I asked Raydodd for his opinion. I said, it feels funny under here, and
it did.
We compared both sides, and it was off. So I was my own advocate. I decided to do something about this feeling that I was having, which was some soreness and a lump. And so I'm 39 years old, and through the help of some friends, which we can talk about that later, I have an appointment to get a mammogram, and we've done all the things. We had the mammogram, we had the ultrasound, and then finally the doctor comes in, who is a great friend of ours, and he's crying and telling us this news. And
he's like, you have cancer.
We're crying. At least I am. You were crying, yes?
Yes. We were all crying. Yes.
And I think I was shocked. The world is standing still. Why me? I've got these beautiful little girls at home. I'm too young. I'm too young to get cancer. And oh my goodness, if I didn't hear that a million times, you're so young. You're so young. I mean, you're so young. I'm like, I'm 39. What I was trying to wrap my head around that year was I was about to turn 40, like you're prepping yourself for the big 40, like I'm going to be 40. But instead I'm hearing you're so young. And so it really does make you step back and, like, I don't know, thank God for these birthdays that we get to celebrate. We get to turn 40 and we get to turn 41. Because if we don't have a birthday, we are dead. And so it really made me kind of, I wouldn't say a new lease on life, but it does make you appreciate the years that you have with people on this earth. I know that there's going to be other things to celebrate once we're not on this earth, but it makes you appreciate what you have on this earth right now. So back to what you said, shock.
I was just in shock. I mean, and I would say shock and anger.
Yes, maybe a little angry. You were more angry than I was. Yeah.
I was angry.
Scared. Because you want to know, like, what's the plan? What am I going to die? Is this treatable? So there's uncertainty.
Yeah. I'm like, I got 2 little girls and I don't know how to handle them.
Mm-hmm.
And because she does so much.
Mm-hmm.
But the uncertainty, because I just felt like they were constantly throwing things. Well, this is your next step and this is your next step. I mean, there was so much to it. And just kind of being almost in a daze for a little while, needing guidance. I mean, luckily we were in the same car because I think I told you later, I don't know if I could have driven myself home.
Yeah, what was the car ride like going home?
Well, you have to plan for the girls.
Right.
Like, and everybody. I mean, because you have to tell people. So it's just like, who are we going to call? And
who are you going to call first?
And what are we going to tell the girls? I think you went and got them off the bus.
Well, so for me, I was planning on, all right, we're going to go up there.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I don't know, an hour and a half. And I was meeting a customer at their property that we had closed the loan on, and we were just going to check on things together. And actually, I had to call her, and I was like, hey, I'm not coming today. Just found out my wife has cancer. So, and she was like, well, completely understand. And so, yeah, you had, and then I had other calls scheduled that day, and I just,
everything stopped.
I had a really, really busy day and just had to call a lot of folks and just cancel, which obviously they understood. But, because I was so happy that we were in the same car, because looking back, I'm like, actually, I don't know why we would have been, because I was going my way, she was going her way. So it was actually out of my way to like take her back home. But I'm so glad that for some reason
we were together.
We were like, oh, we'll just take the same car.
When you said earlier, or you experienced anger, I think that's a natural response.
Yeah.
It's rooted in fear. Were you shaking your fists at the sky? Did you question like why this is happening to me? Or was it immediate to where you two had said, all right, this is happening for us and here's our path forward?
I don't know if we said this is happening for us.
I would say no, not.
But that is the one thing that has kept us moving, kept us grounded, is looking for those little nuggets, the things that God laid before us to help us make our way through this journey.
Yeah.
Like we said, why were we in the same car? It made no sense, but thank goodness we were. Yes, it just, I don't know.
As she receives the news, and I think it's also a God thing that the doctor delivering the news was a friend.
Yes.
Going to you, Raydodd, as the husband, this is your wife. We all say the vows, but until you're really tested, you really don't know.
No, you don't.
You really don't know. You said you were angry. Were there any other emotions that you were feeling as her husband, as a father?
Anger.
Were you scared?
I was scared, but it was more scared. I've got these two little girls and I don't even know how to like go buy them new clothes. I'm sitting there thinking through how much I don't know. I mean, it's not like I don't do anything, but I mean, there's so many things that
I get it. That's why,
I don't know. I'm like, how do you?
I even said to my wife Ashley last night, I was like, "Hey, how about you take Landon for a weekend for baseball, and I take Ava Madison for dance?" She goes, "You wouldn't even know what to do." I'm like, "No, but I would figure it out." But yeah, I wouldn't. You know,
I can't make a hair into a bun for ballet, and that's what was
puts
going
a lot in perspective, doesn't it?
Because Emily does so many good things about making memories for the family, and I couldn't even get close to what she does. And for me, you just don't, it's so shocking. And then of course my head goes to the worst of, okay, do I have her for a month? Is she going to live, a long lasting life? Or is this, hey, this is just the beginning of, hey, you've got 6 months with her. And I just didn't know, but it was just how, obviously I was very sad. And so, yeah, and just angry, but more just like, okay, moving forward with the girls, like, how am I going to be with them? And I didn't know.
All right. Well, we're going to come back to that. I'd like to transition to your love story because in today's world, it's unfortunate that at the first sign of adversity, a marriage falls apart. For a lot of people, it's easier to quit versus sticking it through and coming out the other side changed. And I do want to get into how this has changed the both of you in your own unique ways. But before the girls, before the family, I would really love to hear your love story, where it began. And I mean, look at you, you're holding hands. You're doing one of the most courageous things a couple can do, coming on this show and telling your story. This is a resilient woman, a resilient marriage. Let's start there. Let's start with where it all began.
So August 2002.
It would have been, yes.
Yeah.
So how old were you in 2002?
18.
18. So
18. But you have to understand, a lot of things had to happen, but we were destined to be together.
Yeah. I'm also 2 days older than her.
Okay.
So Raydodd and I both attended Hendrix College.
In Conway, Arkansas.
That's where
I'm from. That's my hometown.
And Hendrix has a wonderful orientation program where they set all their incoming freshmen up to travel to various places around Arkansas on these orientation trips. And Raydodd and I were on the same orientation trip to the Buffalo River. We floated the Buffalo.
Okay.
And it was a larger group. Different trips can accommodate different amounts of students, but ours was a larger trip. And you asked earlier before we started, you said, what did you notice about this person? Well, with Raydodd, it would be his puka shell necklace and his blonde highlights in his hair.
You had blonde highlights?
Yes, the hair was
you need to bring those back.
I don't have enough hair to do that.
So the blonde highlights which was the thing. All right. So I was 18 in 2002.
Did you have a puka shell necklace?
Oh yeah, but I didn't have blonde highlights. I didn't go that route. And then what did you notice about her?
Well, you might not have noticed anything yet because that was just me.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Raydodd had to go on a journey of his own. He had to do a journey for himself. So he journeyed through some other people, women on the trip. And many years later...
this is great.
He finally...
This is a good love story because this is how it all starts.
Yes. He finally made the right choice and things... Well, and what did Michelle say that we were meant to be together? Like we made so much sense.
So we knew each other. We were friends throughout college. And I think one thing that should be noted is we never dated in college.
No.
So we were friends. We had all the same common friends. And we both graduated in 06. And then you moved to Little Rock to start teaching. I stayed an extra year and got my master's in accounting. So I was still living in Conway for a year. She had moved to Little Rock, kind of got, just the distance. And
and I dated.
And she dated other people. I dated other people.
Yes.
And it wasn't until two of our good friends were getting married. They were having an engagement party.
No, actually, they had been married. They were having their housewarming party.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. So we kind of reconnected there, and I had just recently moved to Little Rock at that point to start working.
Just gotten out of a big relationship. And
yeah, actually, I had two. I just had a 2-year relationship end.
Each other's rebounds.
We were. Now that you mention it.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, so we dated. And then ultimately got married July 11th, 2009. Mm-hmm. So that would have been what, September-ish, October-ish of 07. Mm-hmm. And then dated for a while.
We had about a year-long engagement.
Right.
And you, when you got married, that is a special, special time in all of our lives. When you were saying the vows, what did you feel when you were saying the vows? Or did you have your own?
No, we said the vows.
You did.
We had the most, we had a very churchy church service. We had communion and everything.
Because the preacher, because we wanted to just us have communion.
We're Methodist. United Methodist.
So yes. My wife and I got married in the Catholic Church.
Okay. So it's St. James United Methodist here in Little Rock. So the preacher at the time, he did not marry us, but he dictates, a lot of the rules. And we said, hey, we want to have communion. And he said, well, communion in the Methodist Church, it's an open table for all. And essentially he was like, either everyone does it or
nobody does it.
So we're like, okay, we're all going to do it. So we had full-blown communion.
And it was one of the most meaningful things because serving every
communion.
Person that has...
So you two serve communion
with
to
the
everybody.
help of the pastors.
That's incredible.
It was amazing because you see everybody that's there loving you and supporting you. It is a timeline in itself, from your old teachers to your high school friends, college friends, family friends. It was amazing.
Yes. So you were teaching at the time too. When you two got married, I
was in public accounting.
You were public accounting, and then you were in the education system.
I was a first grade school teacher.
You're a first grade school teacher, serving communion, and then at some point during the service, you say your vows.
We did.
Correct.
Yes.
Did you want to tell? You want to tell a little bit about it?
Sure. I was a mess the whole time. I loved Raydodd. I love you so much. I love Raydodd so much. I was just a mess. I could hardly make it through the service. I was crying the whole time. Raydodd doesn't remember too much of the service because
he had a little too much fun
the night before.
Oh.
Yeah. But he made it. He made it.
Well,
made it to the...
If Ashley was on the show and we were kind of comparing stories in this moment, it would be a very similar story.
I had some very good groomsmen. We were doing good, and then it went sour.
Yeah. But you made it to the service. At least you were there and you were dressed appropriately.
Yes.
Well, the vows, everybody says them.
But I took the vows serious.
I know that. Yes. I know you did. And I'm setting that up because that was, again, when?
15 years ago.
15 years ago. All right, so we've been married almost similar amount of time.
That's part of the story, too.
Yeah, so in 15 years, there's a lot that happens. There's no marriage that is perfect. I don't care who you are. Was your faith strong then as it is now?
Yeah. So we are both what we call cradle Methodist. So we were in the Methodist church. You were baptized as an infant.
Right.
And we were both baptized in the...
actually, I'm sorry. But I was later. I was confirmed and baptized.
Yeah, but we were both raised from babies in the Methodist Church. And then
we both have wonderful sets of parents who
both happily married.
So you were modeled.
We had
we had wonderful models.
A life of faith.
Yes,
Absolutely.
A life
yes,
with
of service,
a walk with
of
Christ.
faith.
I mean, as we record this, I mean, it's Good
Yes.
Friday.
Yes.
And so you were modeled that, and over the 15 years, that's tested along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Girls come into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can just reverse engineer backwards from their age and what the timeline is. During that 15 years, up until the point in which you received the word you're diagnosed with breast cancer, or those words that you're diagnosed with breast cancer, that was going to change your marriage and your life forever. Go back through those 15 years and identify a time to where your marriage had a crucible moment that you two were able to overcome that honestly played a part in how you two were able to endure the diagnosis.
That's a good question.
A crucible moment for us.
I mean, obviously
At any time, I know you looked in his eyes, Emily, and said, I love him so much. He loves you so much. And I will say with my own marriage, it was a time where I personally was struggling, but because of me struggling with vulnerability with Ashley, it was my marriage was crumbling at my feet. It was our first 5 years, I should say, 6 years, that woman has endured a lot, and God put her in my life for a reason. And there were a lot of crucible moments along the way, but everybody's different. Could be like a conversation. It could be just maturity, children being born, life is changing, finances.
I think we've had a lot of things, that nothing that's been not able to be overcome.
I feel like we've communicated
But
well.
that's what I was about to say.
We've never hidden anything.
Yes, communication, I would say, has been our number one thing that's always gotten us
And that was my
through.
biggest struggle early on, is like dealing with shame as a man. I was very much, and still am, that producer mindset, protector mindset, to where if I felt like I wasn't living up to Ashley's standards, I was falling short. So I would not basically communicate. I wouldn't communicate really well. But was there a time to where it's just like, man, this was a stressful moment in our marriage and in our life that...
I think when you made your big kind of switch, would that have been stressful?
But that would have been stressful.
COVID was
no.
I mean,
I guess.
And this is awesome that you're having to search and find, by the way.
I just mean,
Because also like pre-kids, like one of the, like what we liked to do is we kind of refer to them as like marathon dinners, where we would go out to dinner, just the two of us, and very regularly it could be a 2.5, 3 hour dinner. And
where are you going with this?
But you were sitting at a table, and this was, it's not like you had your phones you were playing on. So we were talking, and she's just someone that I like to just talk to still today. And
he still likes to talk to me.
Well, I do.
That's incredibly
she's a really
important.
good.
Because there's a certain time period with a lot of marriages that don't have the bedrock of what you have.
You just don't want to talk to them, and I've
interest change, or someone quits growing in the marriage, and then there becomes a hidden resentment. Expectations are set incorrectly, so then there becomes disappointment in the marriage. And I ask that question because over the 15 years, is it 16 years? 15.
Is it 16?
This year will be 16.
So let's go with 16.
Okay. No. Okay. I just have to do the math. All right. 15 was last year.
15 was last year.
Okay.
This year's 16.
Well,
usually it's the woman that knows, and I've had a lot of dates and things that I had to remember.
I get it. It's
I'll call it chemo brain.
Well, no, totally get it. And that to me is a testament on why, when you were diagnosed with the unthinkable, that it probably grew you closer together, because a lot of times, and I'm just going off of my own marriage, I can't speak for others. And that's why I'm asking these questions is like you have these life experiences, you change a job or you launch a business or you have kids, and the marathon dinner is no more.
Is no more.
Oh, no,
right?
We have not had a 3-hour dinner.
Yeah, no more.
I mean, that doesn't happen.
We did good with an hour because both girls were at birthday parties.
Yes.
Last Saturday.
And priorities change, technology enters the picture, and if you don't have a bedrock of communication, of love, or you've been able to overcome certain crucible moments in your marriage, when you're faced with that adversity like you two have been faced with, then all of a sudden it becomes a collapse.
So I would say, and you would agree, one of our biggest moments, I was working full time still in the library, and what were you doing?
So I guess before that, I was in public accounting, and then that was just not working out.
What were you doing when we bought all these rent houses?
I was still a credit analyst.
Okay.
And shifting into, because I had a good buddy that was in banking. He was like, be a credit analyst if you want to be a loan officer. So I did that. So I was shifting from being an analyst to becoming a producer, a loan officer.
And you had a great idea.
Yeah, to buy a couple rent houses because the Airbnb thing was going good. So we bought one.
And
it did
fine. It did great.
It did great. We made a really, really good real estate investment and a really, really bad real estate investment.
All at the same time?
Just about.
Just about.
Just about.
Yeah.
And I was about at my wits' end because I had so many plates spinning, and it was a lot. And I said we had to figure. I mean, I was not going to leave you, but it was like said.
But that's what
like,
I'm asking.
You got to figure this
There's
out.
a lot of
or
you
I'm
to
out of
fabricate
here.
something
but
that's
I'm
not there.
I mean, I was not going to leave him,
But
but it was like I'm at the point where something's got to give.
Yeah, it's a life's test in that moment, and that's what I'm looking for. Is like if I'm able to go back and say, well, we were able to overcome that, although this is some hard news to swallow. You're holding hands today for a reason, and it's not just because it's all been sunshine, rainbows along the way.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So that was
big.
So just a financial strain, just a lot of plate spinning,
time
consumption.
I wouldn't say a financial strain. It was time. There were big checks written to do that, but it's not like, oh, we can't do this or that because we did this. It wasn't that. It was just
the time.
It was a lot more time consuming than we thought. And so
I did stop working and focus solely on the houses, right? That would have been kind of one of our fixes. So my school was closed. My school was shut down anyways.
Okay.
And so again, I tried to look for the
silver lining.
It was a God thing, I think. That it just so happened to be shutting down, and I could have gotten another job within the district. They weren't just letting people go. I had the opportunity to be employed somewhere else, but we did look at each other and say, hey, let's try to make this work.
So we had to cut back on things.
Because that's a big, you
lose an income.
You lose a whole income.
And we've been there too.
Yep.
Ashley and I have, and everybody has a unique story to their marriage that leaves fingerprints on the fingerprints on that story that play a part into the future. And so as you're walking through your marriage or you're growing together, you're expanding your family, before we transition into the date that you were when you were actually diagnosed and what happens thereafter, what I would love for you to do is tell me, or really tell her, what are the things that you love about her the most? And then after you're done doing that, I would love for you to do the same thing, because I think it's incredibly important for who's ever watching this. Hopefully it's couples, but maybe there's somebody is struggling in their relationship right now, that they go back to, why did you hold his or her hand in the first place? Go for it, Raydodd.
Well, I love the memories that you make for me and the girls. I own 12 different waffle makers for various holidays. And so, yeah, Dad gets to make all the waffles, which I enjoy doing, but like, I wouldn't have gone out and been like, yeah, I'm going to own 12 different small waffle makers, and with some that are ghosts, some that are hearts. I've got,
but we love doing that.
But we love
together.
doing that. And building out boards, that the girls eat. I mean, they have no idea. Like, and it's just building those memories. Like, I love that she does that. I love the amount of love that she throws back at me. It's just, and then just, she makes my life better. And that's one reason I got so angry, because I was like, life's going to suck. Like, there's a lot that she does. I mean, we joke, but she does make me kind of a kept man. and she does so many,
That's funny.
But
yes.
That's funny.
She does so many things for me so that I can go do what I want to do. And she's so selfless and does so many things. I mean, she is a people pleaser, sometimes to her detriment, but she just pours out love, wants to make memories, wants to make it perfect, and really makes our family just wonderful. And just look at her Instagram, and she's got some phenomenal pictures of just things that she's done with the girls. And she keeps our family, just, in my opinion, just perfect.
Oh.
All right, your turn.
Okay. Well, you are a kept man. But to your credit, you are so active in our children. I mean, our children are so important to you, where when you come home, it's not, I'm going to sit and watch a game, or I'm going to play my video games, or anything like that. You are all about us and what your girls, me included, have been up to that day. So you are number one family man, where we are your top priority. I think everything you do it for us. Like, I think you love your job, but I think you do it for us. And you are a amazing people person. I love how I am not a super comfortable people person, but I know I can go somewhere with you and you'll shuttle me along and take care of me, and you'll find somebody we can talk to.
Yeah. I'm a little more extroverted than she is.
But that's what makes you two great.
Yeah.
We are.
And
we were destined to be together.
Girls, whenever you watch this and you understand your parent, you understand what they've been through and the love that they have for each other, you are so lucky and so blessed. And for everybody else that is watching and or listening to this, the reason why I had you to do that is now we're going to get into the actual diagnosis. You have a bedrock of faith. You have a bedrock of love. I can see it. I mean, the minute you stepped into the studio, Alex and I both can see it, is like you held hands. And that's where I'm not the most emotional person. It's like when stress goes up, I become stoic in a lot of ways. It's something I have to force. That's just is something I'm always going to have to work on. Whereas Ashley, more intimacy, again, similar, selfless. This is making me a better man and a better husband in the moment. But when you are diagnosed with something completely out of the blue, you went in before you were required, which I think is very important, ladies. Mm-hmm. To become a resilient woman, you have to take your health into your own hands. Mm-hmm. And something didn't feel right, so you did the right thing in saying, hey, we've got to get this checked out. Mm-hmm. We do. And you were there with her every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
What was the date in which that diagnosis
It was December
happened?
It was December 15th, 2023.
So
right?
December 15th,
Mm-hmm.
2023.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the top of the show, the mind is all over the place. Emotions are swirling
Mm-hmm.
all over your heart. Your soul and spirit is being tested in that moment. You cancel a host of meetings through that afternoon. You're busy. You were supposed to ride together. I don't think it is a God thing. It was a God thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that then changes the two of you for the rest of your lives.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And so for everybody that's watching, for everybody who's listening, from December 15th until now, as we record this episode, I want you to unpack that. I want you to unpack to where you did not want to take a step forward. You did not want to go to another treatment. You saw the shift and change in her, Raydodd. The girls, I mean, that's a big one. That's a big one. When you're looking them in the face, they have a birthday.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that go into it.
Mm-hmm.
What kept you moving forward? Like, so this is your time now to really unpack all of that. And I'm going to just shut up and listen.
Well, let me take you back just a little bit
That's fine.
before the diagnosis, just to set a few things up. One thing that I think is really integral is our pastor had encouraged the congregation to, besides like our Sunday school class, to look to form some smaller groups of people, maybe reach out beyond your Sunday school class. But we're Methodism is founded by John Wesley, and Wesley was big into these little, he called them band groups, like a band of people, of course.
Like small group.
Small groups, yes. And so I had a friend that approached me, and she asked if I would want to be in a group. And then I kind of in turn asked about some other women that were in similar situations where we weren't really working outside the home, and we were able to meet with each other. And so we formed this group. It was 8 women, and we would just meet about once a week. We did some book studies, but really it's turned into just, we support each other. It's a time to air your grievances and get help on things that we may be struggling with. So this group is formed and it's functioning. So I have this group going on. Also,
What year was that, though?
That
It's been
was
going on for a while.
Not too long. I think it had just really started. Had it really just started? Did I put a date down? In 2023. So it's the same year, but maybe earlier in the year. So it's functioning. And then also the week before we go meet with the doctor, so we see the doctor on Friday. So this is on Sunday. That's when my armpit started
like, hey, feel
feeling
this
funny. Yeah, it was a Sunday afternoon. And so I told you then, I said, I'm going to call my doctor on Monday morning and I'm going to get in for a mammogram. And
when you found it, though, real quick, I mean, did a flood of emotions and thoughts come across you, or you're just like, we'll wait until Monday. I'm going to cross the bridge until I get there?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I was just trying, maybe it's a clogged something. I mean,
like
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe it's this or that. And you just try to make it. When I was younger, when I was 22, and I think this is important for women to know also, when I was 22, I had a benign cyst in my right breast that I had removed. And everything was fine from that. But I did have that happen very young when I was 22 years old.
Do you have a family history?
My family history is odd. We, and this is another good thing. Please talk to your family members and try to figure things out before you need to know those things, before it's so important. We think that my father's mother, my paternal grandmother, had breast cancer, or we know she did, but we don't exactly know what her treatment was. And she lived to be, in her 80s, yes.
Mid-80s.
Yeah. And she was a little, maybe in her 70s, 60s, 70s I don't know.
They didn't talk about it.
No, that's.
And then I had a great aunt on my mother's side that had breast cancer also, but she lived to be older also. All those things together, and that's what I was telling Raydodd. I was like, when you took my cyst when I was younger, plus these odd, family histories, no one ever really said I was high risk until I'm there
and the diagnosis
getting
happened.
my mammogram.
Yeah.
And apparently, and I still don't know if I would be considered high risk, but it's like all of these oddities kind of added up together.
So you never did any genetic testing or anything?
Well, yes, I have now, but I did not.
Yeah.
No. So Monday morning, I get up and I call my doctor immediately, and they're able to get me in for a mammogram on Wednesday. So I have that appointment scheduled. I go off on Monday, and it is December, so we're angel tree shopping. I'm helping one of the women in my little band group. Yes, she is in charge of the angel trees the angel tree children at our church, and she had enlisted us to help her kind of fill in the holes from what the church members had brought for those children.
Because some people just donated money and they were
so she sent us with gift cards and everything, with a list. I think our big thing were shoes. We needed to find shoes and some pants and just different things. So I go with my friend Julie and my other friend April, who are a member of our group, and the three of us head off to North Little Rock, and we start shopping. And we're shopping around, and you talk about things that you see vividly in your mind. We're at, of all places, the JCPenney's in the McCain Mall, looking for these kids. And I say, y'all, this may be TMI, but I just want you to know, want you to be thinking about me, praying for me. I've got this soreness under my arm, and I've got an appointment on Wednesday to go get a mammogram.
How did that feel when you said that in JCPenney? Was it liberating, or was it just like a casual conversation?
I mean, it was a little of both. Like, of course I'm going to share these things with them. Yeah. They are some of my very best friends, so this is important to share with them. I'm not going to hide this. And so, of course, it's God because Julie turns and she says, Emily, I don't want to overstep, and if you want me out of your business, I'll get out of your business. But she said, this is what Steve does, and Steve's her husband. And she said, do you want me to call him and see if he can, get you in? Would you want him to see you? Well, of course, sure, yes. Why not? She said, if you can go get your mammogram on Wednesday, but she said, it's not going to be a diagnostic mammogram. It'll just be a regular one. And then they'll see something on it, and they'll send you back, and you'll have to wait and go get it. She said, it could get drawn out for so long. So she's like, I'd be happy to call Steve. So sure enough, we finish up and we go sit down at, what is it? Is it Gus's, the chicken place?
Yeah.
Is it Gus's fried chicken? You got to know the important things. We were at JCPenney and Gus's fried chicken. And so we've ordered our food, and Julie is on the phone with Steve, and he said if she can get a referral, I can fit her in on Friday. And what a blessing. I had just recently, I think maybe a year or so before, I'd finally found a good PCP that I was comfortable with. And I think it's so important. Another message, no matter how healthy you think you are, don't let your insurance lapse. Don't go without a PCP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have those things taken care of before it's too late. I mean, I was 39 years
And
old.
so many people do, though. They don't have a relationship. I think that's incredibly important. And it's an industrialized system in a lot of ways. My thing is your health is your wealth. And when your health goes, so goes, and I'm talking about not just monetarily, I'm talking about just in totality, right? Like wealth is self-worth in a lot of ways, which I think is a fantastic message. And so you go to see Steve that Friday. Were you able to get in on that Friday?
Well,
Yeah.
so what worked out wonderfully, again, my PCP, I made a quick phone call to her, and her name's Sarah Holcomb. She's here in North Little Rock with Baptist now. She was somewhere else before then. But she quickly got the referral in for me so that I could see Steve on Friday. And so cancel my other mammogram that was supposed to be on Wednesday because that was not going to be necessary because he was going to do everything. So we went on Friday for...
It's Friday early morning.
Early morning. He said get there
like 8 o'clock
early.
or something.
And they did a mammogram, put me back in the room, called me back out, did an ultrasound, and then Steve came and because he's a radiologist, he's an
interventional
radiologist, which I figured out is important. The interventional part means he performs some small procedures. There's procedures that he
sees patients. He doesn't just read slides.
Yeah, he puts his hands on patients. So Steve delivers this news, and then from there, being Steve, who's a great doctor, says, I want to biopsy. You've got 2 spots, and I want to biopsy them both. And so he said, I'd love to do it today if y'all can stick around, and if we can get a referral from your PCP to do these biopsies. And he said, I don't know how long it can take. Sometimes doctors take so long to get these referrals in. Here he comes back in the room and he said, that was the quickest referral I've ever received. She's so on it. Dr. Holcomb had those referrals in. He does the biopsies, and his nurse, as she's helping me pack my wounds and everything, she said, we usually don't do biopsies on Fridays. And so he had specially done these biopsies for us, say for us. Yeah. He sets us up. He said, I'm going to text Jerry Fant. He said, do you know Jerry Fant? I said, no. He's like, well, she goes to our church, but she goes to a different service. I said, okay. He was like, I'm going to text her, and I think I think you need to go see her next week. And so she was able to get us in on Tuesday.
Now, what's Jerry's specialty?
So Jerry she is a surgical oncologist at Cartine, and she's amazing, great, just
she is great.
Ball of fire, a burst of energy. She comes in. She's great. So she meets with us on Tuesday I am so far ahead of the game that she meets with us without the full picture of what she's dealing with. So her piece of paper has arrows that, well, if it goes up this way, if this turns out to be positive, then this is what we'll do. If it's negative, then this is what we'll do.
But you were early on in the process.
Did not.
Early detection.
This was
no
Friday
early
we found
as
out.
Far as most people have to wait weeks.
That's okay.
I was blessed.
That's what I was wanting clarification
beyond
on. Measure
that Steve pulled these strings. He told us, he said, I did for you what I would have done for my wife. We were treated with, we had help that most people, or privilege, I'll say, we used our privilege, with Steve.
Absolutely.
And he just took care of everything. And so,
Thank you, Steve.
I know. Thank you, Steve. And he know, right?
Steve Roughton.
Dr. Steve Roughton, which he has his own story. So we'll tell what Steve's doing. Steve is actually at Carti now.
Great.
So he was with Baptist Breast, Radiology Associates, maybe.
One of them, and he was contracted at Baptist Health Breast Center.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so now he's at Carti. But anyways, so we see Jerry, and she doesn't have the full picture because my pathology's not all back yet. And there's a lot with breast cancer, and hopefully no one ever has to learn about it. But there is a lot of research on breast cancer, and they've been able to pinpoint a lot of the different components that make up each type of breast cancer. And so that was her whole point. And me just being, again, in this days of not really even have processed that I have cancer. This is just a few days later. But I'll back up just a smidgen. We had family Christmas on that Saturday. So I was diagnosed on Friday, and we had Raydodd's.
Saturday, the next day,
we had Raydodd's family Christmas, and we hosted. And I will say, people.
Did the family know immediately afterwards?
We had called them. Okay. We called them Friday night because I said, I don't want everybody to show up for Christmas tomorrow and us sit down and tell them this thing. I said, I want them to know. And because I had been biopsied, so I was not moving. I couldn't, I wasn't supposed to bend over.
Something was
There's
going
things
on.
I was supposed to, be careful about. And so we told.
Now, did you tell the girls?
Yes. We told them
as soon as we got home.
We told them on Friday too.
All right, so let's take a moment there.
We can pause back. We can
no. Yeah,
rewind a little bit.
Yeah, let's rewind to that because you're on the way home. How did you compartmentalize your thoughts, your emotions before you actually? Did you pick the girls up from school? Were they out of school, or was they?
We didn't. I think we took that time for ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, they were at school, but they rode the bus home.
They rode the bus home, so they have no clue what's going on with mom or dad.
No. They do not.
And so they walk in to the house.
Well, actually, Emily would always go and pick them up, and so
at the bus stop.
At the bus stop. I walked to the bus stop.
So they knew something was up.
They get off the bus. They're like,
"Where's mom?
What are you doing here, Dad?" And I'm like, "Well, let's get home," because they were not expecting to see me.
So when they said that, though, what was your internal reaction? Not external, but your internal reaction.
Internal was like, you're about to hear some news that you might not completely understand. And, but I just quickly on the walk up was just like, tell me about your day. Like, yeah, dad's home. Like, we're going to walk home. And I didn't tell him like, hey, we got some big news. It was just like, yep, dad's home. And so they were just telling me all about their day. And so I guess probably none the wiser in reality. But in my mind, I was still in shock. There was still a lot of just shock and anger and so I can't really, I was still processing. Actually, no, I probably wasn't even processing at that point. It was just like, I just got to get through. Like, all right, I know I need to be at the bus stop at like 3:05, so I don't miss it. And it's like, all right, got that. Okay, because I was still like contacting people to cancel appointments because I had phone calls that afternoon that I was canceling.
And I don't think we had not told anybody else, had
no,
we?
So the girls are going to be the first ones that you told.
They were the first ones we told. Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I think I was just crying. I think I'd just been spending my afternoon crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have that walk. How far is the bus stop to the house?
Oh, it's 4 houses down.
So 4 houses down.
She's at the house.
You're at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Girls walk in because none of us get out of this life unscathed. I think that at that moment in time for them, they'll look back, and that's a part of where a piece of them had to grow up, whether they realize what they were hearing. Sure. All children, unfortunately, go through that and lose a piece of their innocence when life becomes real. Walk me through They get in the house. They put their backpacks up.
We sit them down.
Then we immediately sit them down.
Yeah. And
Was this even rehearsed? I mean, it was just
no.
Yeah,
It was just sit down and then
straight from the heart.
Yeah.
You just told them. I mean, it was. We didn't sugarcoat anything. We just
which we never have with them.
We never have.
Which is great.
We're always really honest with them about everything, because we would rather them come to us with questions than go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we didn't really hide anything. We told them pretty much everything we knew, which wasn't all that much on Friday. That mom has cancer. And
What was their initial reaction?
I think
Did they even know what cancer really was?
They knew it was a disease,
right?
But not
right. They really didn't. And we've asked them because we like to go back. How did you feel about this? Just to kind of check in with them, we've asked, and just recently knowing that we were going to be coming here, we said, what did you feel? How did you take it? What did you think? And I think, what did Patterson Ray said? She went upstairs and cried on her own for a little while. She didn't quite understand, but she was sad. She's our older one, and so she kind of had a moment.
We never knew that she.
We didn't know that.
She went upstairs and cried.
But she went and had some quiet time, to herself. And then Evelyn Ann, I don't know if she quite.
I didn't quite
grasp it.
And I think you're right.
What was about to happen, but they knew.
How did it, in that moment? How did it change the two of you?
Well, Dean,
you go.
I was going to say, for me, all of a sudden, am I going to be able to mom the way that I've mommed? Like what am I not going to be able to do? Because I'm a doer.
Absolutely.
And so I was like, what am I not going to be able to do? What are they going to miss out on? What, you just have so many questions. But again, there's a lot to process, which I don't know if we didn't even know. We hadn't even seen the tip of that iceberg yet.
No. I mean, I knew, I was like, I didn't know how hard it was going to be because you just don't know.
We had no plan. We knew nothing.
We were just trying to get through because we found out we had our family Christmas at our house, and then on top of that,
what else?
We were hosting a Christmas Eve party. We did,
but that was we had the following week. Yes, to get ready for it.
Week.
Yes, I know.
To host a whole lot of people at our house.
I will say.
But did that help?
Yes,
having something in front of you.
Dr. Steve.
Well, actually, they were co-hosting.
And he kept saying, "Now, if you don't need to be doing this, if you need to," I was like, "Steve, what am I going to do? Sit on my couch and cry? Like, I want to do this. Like, it helps me push forward, move forward." I was like, as long as I'm going to be here on Christmas Eve, I was like, I'm going to host this party because it gives me purpose. It gives me direction and a bit of a distraction.
Yeah.
We need distractions sometimes from these things.
So on that,
that's a very powerful statement. We need good, healthy distractions.
So
sometime.
Just a side note. So the Christmas Eve party. So my parents, growing up when I was like, from being a little kid, my parents would throw what turned out to end up being like a really big Christmas Eve party. And the way it would work is everybody would go to church, and then all their friends and family, like if you had family in town, like it was just, hey, a pop-in party. So if you
sounds like a heck of a party.
So if you had like your kids were in town, or you had other family, it was like bring them. Like everyone's invited. So, our house would be filled with 50, 60 people on Christmas Eve. And so Julie, Steve's wife, her parents were good friends with my parents, and they would always come. So me and Julie actually grew up together. She's from Magnolia. Mm-hmm. And actually, when Julie and Steve were dating in college, my mom, she still had this party, or my mom and dad would have the party. And so he actually had come to the party. So for probably a couple years, Julie had discussed, hey, we need to start that again. And so finally we were like, all right.
I said, I'll do
We'll
it
do
if,
it this-
you'll,
if
if
you'll
you'll
help.
help me.
Yeah.
You know, I'll do it if y'all will help. And so
So after years of
that was,
talking about
that was
it,
our first one.
that was the very
In
first one.
2023.
23
In
was going to
2023.
be our first go at it. Yes.
And then 24, they actually hosted. Oh,
But
sorry.
okay. So yes. So, but that's not that party. That was Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
You're moving too fast.
Sorry.
Because a lot had to happen between then and Christmas Eve.
Yes. So sorry, back up.
And so, yes, so we hosted your family, which is not, it's just 10 people. It's small. And they got to see me and I was fine. I'd just been biopsied and that was lovely, a lovely time. The girls and their cousins, they love each other and they're all close in age. So that was probably good for them to have a distraction. So we do see Dr. Fant on Tuesday and she doesn't have all the biopsy information. And I think Steve was calling us. I remember we were walking a lot. We were outside walking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve would call at different times. Do you remember that a
Yes.
little bit? And so she says that she's going to do surgery on me. Without even knowing, really, right? She didn't need to know.
She didn't need to know everything.
She
She
didn't
knew
When
need
was
to
the
know
surgery
everything.
scheduled?
So she was going to do what she wanted to do initially was do take out lymph nodes,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
You get an injection. It's like a radioactive injection. I had so much poison put into my body. I just look back, I'm like, oh my goodness, and I'm still here. But you get injected with this
Isn't it wild? I mean,
Oh, it's totally wild. But it's
wild.
amazing too.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
it's when I go to see my mom and she's getting treatment, it has a radioactive bag and
Yeah.
it has
Yeah.
the radioactive
Yeah.
logo on it. You're just like, that is just nuts.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
but it's amazing. And these scientists, I thank God literally every day. Like, thank you for putting these people on earth. Thank
Mhm.
you for giving them these brains that can create this wonderful medicine that has healed. I mean, it has healed me. And so she's going to take out some lymph nodes because that's important. You know, they need to test to
Mhm.
see if I have cancer in my lymph nodes because that would definitely dictate different paths of treatment. And she tells me, or us at my appointment, she said, do you have an oncologist? No. I mean, I found out 4 days before.
Yeah.
No, I don't have an oncologist. She said, well, I like Diane Wilder she's here at Car Time. And she said a lot of times she holds appointments for me that when I have someone come in, I can send them over to her and she'll have some appointments held for new people. So sure enough, she sits right there and texts Diane Wilder and says, do you have anything coming up? And she had an appointment on Friday.
Yep.
And so, of course, we take that. I think we were supposed to leave to go to my family's house for which I'm from Charleston, Arkansas.
Mhm.
And so we were supposed to travel to Charleston maybe on Thursday. But we ended up, we stayed because I
Right.
had that doctor's
Right.
appointment scheduled. So we meet with Dr. Wilder, and by that time, they had more information about my cancer, and they knew that I was ER and PR positive. So
Mhm.
that's estrogen and progesterone positive. And then also I was HER2 positive, which is, it's like a receptor. There's a fancy name. It's in something endocrine, maybe
Right.
receptor. No, but I'm HER2 positive. And so all that together makes me triple positive. So if you hear women talking about being triple negative or triple positive, they knew that my cancer was triple positive, which is kind of at one point, if again, 20 years ago or whatever,
known.
if I was triple positive, I'd probably be dead or, I'd be dying.
They did say it was more of a death sentence to be triple positive back in a long time ago.
Just because of the lack of technology or the
lack of understanding.
It's a fast growing cancer. So triple negative, what I've learned now, if you're triple negative, there are not a lot of treatment options. I mean, they take the cancer out, but that is pretty much all they can do. They can take the cancer out. But it's slow growing. Triple positive is aggressive and it's fast growing. But
and that's what you were.
That's what she had.
That's what you had. Okay.
It's fast growing. And so like Steve said, he was like, based on, the size of your tumors, this might have just started growing in July. So that was like from July to December. So really
6 months, 6 months.
And you've got these 2 tumors like in your breast. And so not a super long time. And thinking back again, that's December. I don't turn 40 until the next until February. And then my mammogram wasn't even scheduled until like the end of that year, about in August. So almost a whole year could have gone by if I had just said, I'll just wait. And, I have this mammogram when I turn 40.
And were you regularly receiving preventative, like your your wellness screenings
my wellness
every year?
Screenings every year.
It's just that the mammogram just fell on a schedule to where you're supposed to have it when you're 40. I know Ashley's talked to me about that because she recently had a mammogram. The surgery though, that's big. Like, was there more than just one surgery?
Yes.
Several
surgeries.
So some of the things, we see Dr. Wilder. Dr. Fant now has, more information about my cancer. And Dr. Wilder gives me the news that based on my diagnosis, this triple positive diagnosis, that I'm going to need chemotherapy. I'll also be receiving immunotherapy. And those were kind of her big things. And radiation, surgery and radiation.
Radiation, I think, might have been a maybe at that point.
Until they knew about my lymph nodes.
Right.
They needed to find out. Everything is
everything was happening so fast.
A wait and see.
It was,
Dr. Wilder, I'll never forget, I'm like sitting in her office on this Friday and I'm like crying and trying to hold it together and trying to listen. And she is so kind and she is a godly woman. And she looks at me and she said, I don't know. I felt like her child for a minute, but she was like, you haven't even had the time to process that you have this. She just completely understood because, again, and Raydodd and I, we did not understand this until hindsight, looking back. I found out so much faster than most women. Most women sit with it and they have to sit on their appointments and they have weeks between appointments. And mine, from a Friday to a Friday, I have my diagnosis, I've met with my surgeon, and I've met with my oncologist. It happened so fast.
Right.
So fast that, yes, I had not processed it at that point. It had only been a week, and I was still getting information about what type of cancer I had. And yes, you have cancer, but there's so much more to it. That it was a lot.
It was.
So then we pack up. It's still Christmas, and we still have to do all the things. So we pack up and head to Charleston, and I think Dr. Wilder called me. I can't remember if she had some news or if she was calling to check on me or all the above, probably. And I'm in the car on the way to Charleston, and she's calling me, and she says, if you need to text me over this weekend because you have more questions, do that.
We received phone calls and test results over weekends, like Saturdays.
But that was also...
That was Steve. That was Steve, like going in and like, all right, I'm going to check this out.
You're headed to Charleston, which, by the way, after the show's over, I've got a connection to Charleston too.
I know, we know you have a connection to Charleston.
On the way to Charleston, though, your parents, are they still married? Okay. What was your mother's reaction when you saw her?
Oh,
Well, she's a worrier.
I was going to say, my mother is a worrier, but my parents would do, well, and they did. My parents would do anything for me.
And we'll get to that
I
on
think
how
my mom
much
would have
they did.
taken the cancer away from me and held that burden on her own. I absolutely think she would have. I think she wanted to.
So you go to Christmas. Is this the first time your mom has seen you since the diagnosis, or did she
Yes.
come down?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No,
so this is
no.
the first time.
Yes.
And you walk through the door with the girls. I'm sure that they're running and they're
Mhm.
there. They're glad to see their grandparents and be in Charleston. There's memories that come with that. The look on your mother and your father's face. Emily, do you remember that moment in time?
I don't, but I'm sure there was some kind of relief, you know, when you're with
You're their baby.
yeah, when you're with your people. Yeah. I know my brother, it hit him
Hit him hard.
really hard. So I think it was good for him, you know, to see me, but I'm still me. I'm still functioning.
But he was in Little Rock. Did we probably
No, we didn't see him until
We didn't
we
see him
all
until- okay.
came to Charleston. Him and his wife, which we're very thankful for her that he has her to support him. We all have our support people, and so that was good. It was a good, you know, all of our all of
It's
our
one you'll never
Christmases were
forget.
good.
Nope.
Yeah, the Christmas with Raydodd's family was needed, and it was nice and just normal. It was good. And then being, you know, back in my childhood home with my parents and my brother and the girls and his wife and you know, kind of the elephant in the room was the cancer, you know, when I would be sitting there and just start crying for no good reason. What did I get? A sweater. I got a sweater that we said could be my chemo sweater. And I got a puzzle table, which, you know, all of the gifts had been bought pre-cancer, but they said, some of these things may come in way more handy than we had expected. So it was good. It was needed, like, just to keep, and that has kind of been our motto the whole time, just to keep things as normal as possible. We said business as usual. Like, these are the things we're going to do. Why not do it? So when we got back, we baked cookies. We looked at Christmas lights. We did.
Do you know how many people don't do that?
I don't know, but that's what I'm telling you. Do it.
Like
I'm saying,
So
just do it.
these are the memories I was talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
the survival mind kind of kicks in. Like they're encumbered by the survival mind when something like this, a knock at the door. Yeah. You fight how you train, and training comes in so many different ways spiritually. Why I wanted to highlight your marriage, your family, and a theme that I'm catching onto is that you had incredible people in your corner and the support group, and from the medical community, of course, to your family, to your friends, to your small group at church. I know a good friend of mine who is a good friend of yours from Charleston, which matters. You know, the who is by far greater than the how, which helps build resilience along the way. But most people don't have that. They really don't. And what a blessing.
Oh,
what
absolutely.
a blessing. And also to keep yourself moving, you know, one step. You had compartmentalized goals. We're going to keep business as usual. The girls aren't going to know any different. I'm their mom. And then comes 2024, the turn of the year. Did you have more surgeries before the turn of the year?
Yeah. So what happened? Yes.
I just didn't know how fast it actually.
And I'll say just to sprinkle in a few other great things. You know, you have to kind of decide with this diagnosis who you're going to tell or how you're going to tell it.
I think that's incredibly important.
So we did. I called some of my close friends, made some phone calls, and had conversations with them because they would have probably heard it somehow, and you don't want them to hear it from so and so. You want them to hear it from you.
Word's going to travel fast.
Yes, absolutely.
So I had those conversations, and I also gave everyone permission to tell. If you want to tell so and so, go right ahead. That is fine. And I never publicly announced anything on social media. I never made a big
good for you.
thing.
I think that's a great thing.
I don't know.
For what it's worth, that people do that, that's perfectly fine.
I just didn't. I never quite.
That was your story.
I never could come up with how I wanted to present it, but it was important for me to tell people over the phone, or face to face,
the old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was. I gave myself how do you get support if you don't ask for support?
That's a big one, Emily, because a lot of people don't raise their hand. A lot of people are afraid to ask for help when there's so many people in their corner that would love to help and want to know how to help.
My very best childhood friend, we don't live near each other. She lives in West Memphis. And what do I get in the mail but some pink fluffy slippers and
that's great.
What was it, like a
weighted shoulder thing that
you can
up.
heat up? I mean, just perfect. And yeah, I mean,
you got showered with a lot of good gifts.
She just loved me. That was just her. That was her, and that was just her being. I'm not there, but I'm there. Think of me. And so, of course, every time I put those little pink fluffy slippers on, that's her. Like, she's with me. But my wonderful group of women, my small group of women, sent me beautiful flowers, and they will be a part of this story as we go down the road. But they were there immediately. So my surgery gets scheduled for December 28th, and all that it's going to be is we're going to get this injection of this radioactive whatever, and it'll make the lymph nodes that are attached to the cancer light up. She said they'll light up. And she will know, my surgeon, Dr. Fant, she will know to extract those lymph nodes, and they'll send those off to pathology. At the same time, she's going to place my chemo port. And I will use this moment to advocate for a port. If anyone knows of someone who is questioning, should they get a port, they're about to have a long-term treatment of any kind, and they've been offered the opportunity to get a port, even though you won't understand it, because I could not wrap my head around what it was, what I was doing to myself.
A port is something that's
it is
not permanently there, but it's
not. Mine's gone now.
But it's there to where they're not having to.
You're not having to be stuck
every time.
Every time you're not tethered to your wrist or your top of wherever they would be sticking you.
Why would someone want to not get a port?
I don't know, because they don't understand it.
Which I think is incredibly important.
Because Steve told you, he was like, they
asked
are
Steve, I said, Steve, I don't understand. She's asking me if I want this port. I don't quite understand it. And he kind of tries to explain it. I still didn't understand what I was getting until I actually had it. Wouldn't you say?
Right.
You're bringing up an important point, is that people struggle to even understand their health insurance, in addition to when you're in the middle of this chaos, understanding what's being thrown at you, that complicates things in a lot of ways. It really does. And it's almost as if you got to have an interpreter.
I was going to say, we had Steve as our
you have to have an interpreter
I know.
along the way, because what is not seen is the emotions that you're dealing with at the same time in everyday life.
Maybe Dr. Google could have helped us.
Dr. Google. I don't know. Will it help or will it hurt? Because it can send you down a rabbit hole.
I don't know if it would have been helpful, because that was one thing I did not do until a little later. I did not hop on Google and start Googling a whole bunch of things We did go to Steve, though, and ask him
We would ask
one
him
more
a lot of
question.
I do want to take a brief pause and ask Dr. Google something. Alex, when you get a chance, will you research under 40 cancer statistics? Do you mind? Because it seems to me, as of late, more younger people are getting diagnosed with cancer. I'm hearing more and more. Maybe it's just because of the time of life I'm in right now.
Sure.
And so you're going through this process. You got incredible support groups. You are at Carti, which sounds like the care was absolutely phenomenal. So when you got, I guess, word of you're putting the port in, we're going through this, you had to have a big surgery at some point.
Yeah, just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to jump ahead.
I know. Well, and that's
There's
the
a lot
thing.
of things between now
Oh,
and
yeah, no.
You would think, and I had a coworker or a former
And I'm
coworker.
going off of my mom is basically her experience.
I had a former coworker who she just recently went through breast cancer, and I was so happy I was able to help her. But her journey was different than mine.
Yeah. Every journey with cancer is different.
Yes. And that is so important. Every journey is different. And that is something both Dr. Fant and Dr. Wilder repeated to me. We can have another woman in the room or more, or I don't know, 10 women in the room, and
Everybody's
10
gonna
of
be
them
different.
are going to have the same treatment plan. Yes.
So you get the port.
So I get the port and I get the lymph nodes taken out. They send that to pathology. And at Dr. Wilder on that Friday before, she had already set up that chemo was going to be starting January 2nd. Happy New Year. So the port is placed, lymph nodes are out. So I've got a scar from where she took those out. And so I'm recovering from that. It was no big deal, not bad. And we have a happy new year, a family of 4. We celebrate. Oh, and April came over and cut my hair.
Yeah, talk about that.
So cut your hair in
So I had really
preparation for the treatment?
I'm not one of those badass women, I would say, that was just shave it all off. I could not get my head. I couldn't, I don't know. I couldn't do that.
To me, a woman's hair through this process is a very emotional.
Yes, and I would like people. I'm giving my public service now.
That's what this is for.
No, this is my public. My PSA is: don't belittle the hair. Don't say, "Oh, but it's just hair; it'll grow back." It's an outward. I don't know. It's a big deal because you already have all these things that you can't control. And then on top of it, they said, oh, and by the way, you're going to lose all your hair. And let me say, when they say lose your hair, you also lose your eyebrows, you lose your eyelashes. I mean, everything goes. It's all hair. And nobody told me I'd lose my eyebrows or my eyelashes. And you do. And it's hard because then you don't want to look in the mirror and be a sick person. You don't want, you're constantly being reminded that you are a sick person. So chemo started. No, I needed a trash can too.
Just throw it on the ground.
I got it.
Yeah. Raydodd, put it in your pocket.
Yeah. This will end up.
Oh, yeah, there is one.
Okay.
There you go, Raydodd. Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Alex has this hooked up.
Great, thank you. So I've had my surgery on December 28th, which I'll always remember that because we celebrated my brother's birthday on December 27th. Mm-hmm. We did an escape room. You do all the things. We don't stop. My dad took me to this surgery. We are crazy. And I look back and I said, Raydodd, you probably should have come with me. Yeah. But we didn't know what the year was going to hold. And he is our provider. He's the sole provider.
Oh, I have a story.
And so it was kind of, my mom was there to take care of the girls because my parents are there. We're we're here. They were there for my brother's birthday too, though. But they're like, we're just going to stay with y'all. And so my dad was going to take me to my surgery, and you went to work. And
Because at that point we were like, how much work am I going to have to miss? And it's like, what?
And this surgery was not this was not, I don't know, that sounds crazy, but I've had surgeries. I've had other things taken out of my body, and I do fine with anesthesia. I knew how I was going to respond. I was not worried about that.
You were walking in confident.
Yes.
Yeah. And they even said, they were like, all right, we're just taking out a few lymph. I mean, it was,
A lot more
they
than
called
that.
it minor. I mean, it was,
yeah. So I said, I want you to go to work, and Dad's going to take me for the surgery. Mom's going to stay with the girls. And
everything
again,
will be okay.
Business as usual. Yeah, everything's fine. And it was. I mean, I came home and it was done, and I just needed to heal for a little while because I had to turn right around and start chemo on January 2nd, which you were there.
oh, I did come to that all day.
All day. So chemo started.
It didn't, the first round
Right and early
round
in the morning.
was long.
Yeah.
So go,
and they warned us. They told us it was going to be a long day, and it was. We got there, and I don't think they had to do blood work because I think I'd already had enough blood work done. And so we met with Dr. Wilder, and she walked us through kind of what I was going to be getting, what was going to be happening. Her nurse, she has a lovely nurse named Brittany, who was an infusion nurse, and now she works in Dr. Wilder's office at Carti, and she walked me through how to take care of my port, like how to prep it and what I needed to do to get ready before an infusion. So she got me all numbed up because you get a cream and you numb it and cover it, and it's great. It's glorious. It's the best thing. So she got me ready for that. And then we went to you have to wait. There's a lot of waiting too. So don't think everything was just like served on a silver platter. We waited for a really long time. So we waited a chunk of the morning away, probably, until we were called back to the infusion room at Carti, and got back there, took our pictures. And the first port access was probably the hardest because I'm still swollen from just having it put in. But they got someone experienced over there and it's so funny. You're like, why are you asking me these questions? They wanted to know who put the port in and where I got the port. And I'm like, why do you need to know those things? And they said, because different surgery centers have different ports. So we need to know which one you have. And so by answering those.
Because it's underneath the skin.
It's under the skin.
It protrudes up, but they can't see it.
And so they used that knowledge, stuck that needle in, got me all taped and going. And the thing about the first session is I'm receiving 4 drugs. I received 4 drugs.
In one day?
In one day. And the reason it takes so long is the first day you get the dose of like the first drug, and then they have to wait about 30 minutes just to see if you're going to have an allergic reaction. And apparently there was another woman who was getting similar drugs to me, and she did have an allergic reaction. Yeah. So I was fortunate. I made it through all 4 with no allergic reactions. And they tell you, they say, you are going to, we pump your body full of steroids. So you're probably going to go home and feel great.
And I did. Oh my gosh.
Felt great.
Felt like Superwoman.
I reorganized. What did I do? I cleaned out the refrigerator.
She completely cleaned out the refrigerator. And I was like, she is going crazy.
I think I started to organize the pantry. I don't know.
I was just enough projects. I was like, whoa.
Bouncing.
You got to stop here.
When did it fade?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, it does.
Well, again, you have so many things that, oh, really? Like, that's a part of this too? So they said, we'll see you back here tomorrow for your shot. Oh, really? Like, what is that for? And I said, well, we have to give you this shot to help your white blood cells regenerate in your bone marrow. And they're like, and it may hurt. You're like, oh, really? Great. So, I came back. So my infusions are always on a Tuesday, which is nice. It's nice to have set days, like that it's always going to. And so my infusion was always on a Tuesday. So my bone marrow, I call it my bone shot, was always on a Wednesday, and it had to be like 24 hours after you finished your chemotherapy. And so mine was in the afternoon. Got the shot. They say you can take Claritin, which I was already on for sinuses, but they said that for some reason Claritin helps to relieve some of the pain. But I will say, with you would think that I just wanted to crawl in bed and like rest, but it would hurt. It hurt to sit. It hurt like
It hurts your bones.
like my whole body just hurt. And that usually didn't start until about Thursday evening. I would start just hurting. And it was hard to be. I remember just looking at my couch and being like, this is the most uncomfortable couch in the world. Like, why do we have such an uncomfortable couch? Because it just perch. I mean, I would almost just have to like perch, like, because laying back, there was no way to be comfortable. It would get better, and it was nice to understand how my body would come out of these cycles. But we would go in and I would get fluids usually on either like that Friday or Monday, sometimes both, maybe Monday for sure. But just figuring all that out. Now, let me also say, I'm also being asked, I had an audiologist appointment because one of the drugs I was taking could affect my hearing. So I saw an audiologist at Carti, by the way. I met with a cardiologist. I guess, did I see him after or right before? I can't.
Yeah.
Because one of the drugs I'm taking can affect my heart. So he was monitoring me every 3 months. Was there anybody else we had to see?
Probably.
I don't know. I felt like I was seeing everybody. I was never not busy. I mean, you're going to doctor's appointments all the time. And we would say I was so thankful that we lived in Little Rock. And I would say, what about these poor people who are coming into town coming in for just a shot, or having to travel with this bone pain, and, just always thinking how grateful and thankful I was for my situation and to be in Little Rock.
Right.
Which I know some people are not always real happy that they live in Little Rock. But, I was really thankful that I lived in Little Rock and I had this.
It was just right there.
Wonderful cancer center just right down the road from my house.
Well, but that is incredibly valuable in the sense of, number one, you're operating with gratitude. Those little things.
Looking for the little things.
The game of inches. But it's also incredibly valuable because until you're actually in it, you don't recognize a ton of what people go through, especially those that are in rural communities that are traveling.
Oh, sure.
And a lot of them are traveling by themselves.
Having a caregiver.
Yeah. It also is important to note when something like this happens to a lot of people, like this is one of the top reasons people file for bankruptcy. Income stops. They don't have financial means to support themselves outside of, what their job is providing them. And, Raydodd, you're working, you're going through treatment. So that is basically
fortunately,
I was going to say,
you had stopped working because
that's where I was going with it.
Because I don't know how anybody going through it.
I've seen people do it that are working. Yeah. I know they can do it.
That's where I was going with it.
Yes. I've 2 women I have mentored and they have mentored me. they are working, they're public school teachers, and they have gone through it working. It is not easy, and I have the
And that's what I'm
most
wanting.
admiration
I'm
for
wanting
them.
to. I'm wanting to highlight the fact that this is a very vulnerable time in your life. It's got pain, physical, emotional, spiritual, the mental side of it. And if you couple that with, if you don't have financial protection and you're having to work and you're having to muster every ounce of energy you have, and this is happening as we speak.
Oh, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
To go and work, to feed your family, to make sure your kids are getting to school. Think about the single mother out there right now. And your story highlights that, to where a lot of hope is lost along the way. And to combat that, gratitude for the little things is probably one of the top reasons people don't just survive, but they endure something like this in their life. On top of everything else we've discussed, your friend comes and cuts your hair.
Oh, yes. I was going to say,
Yeah,
let's
your
get back
friend
to
comes.
that.
I want to go back to that because this is in someone's cancer journey, in particular in a female's journey with cancer. And I remember my mother going through it. When you lose your hair, you shouldn't belittle it, like you had said. You know, it's a tough process. And you had long hair. She cut it.
Yeah.
I had long hair. I'd probably let it get too long. But she came in and was just like this angel who came and brought all of her little hair cutting stuff, but brought things for the girls. And so the girls put on little
They
aprons.
had little aprons, yeah.
And she pulled my hair back and let them each cut a ponytail.
She made 2 ponytails, yeah.
So they each cut a ponytail and helped. And then she trimmed it up for me. And so I just had short hair because my thought was it would be a lot less traumatic to be pulling out short hair than these long strands of hair.
Clumps of hair.
Yes. And it does come out in clumps, and it is not pleasant, but it was probably a little less traumatic not being so much. So she did that. We donated the hair, and then my younger daughter, she wanted her hair cut too, so she could donate her little ponytail. So we kind of made a moment of it. And
You remember the first time though that you did pull out hair?
Oh, well,
It was more just on
it
the
was
bed,
more,
on the
yes,
pillow.
of finding it, yes. And like finding it on my coat. Like, remember when we were going to dinner and it was like, felt like I just kept lint rolling myself. Right.
Did you ever lose all your hair? You did lose all your hair? I would love, if you're okay with it, if you have do you have a picture from when you did?
Maybe.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know.
Did you wear a wig or anything?
I did. So I went with my mom, and I know you can order wigs online. I just never could wrap my head around, like, how do I pick out a wig online?
Yeah.
They do have a care center at Carti where people have donated wigs and they've purchased some. They were all really short. And again, I was used to longer hair, so that was not me. But my mom went there with me also. We looked at Carti's appearance center, I think is what they call it. Didn't quite find anything that truly fit me. So we found a wig store in North Little Rock, I think, that we went to and tried on some wigs, found me a blonde wig, and it took you a minute to get used to it.
It was
right?
Yes.
It was different.
And
but
it was a
and I do want to get to where you start seeing physical changes.
By the end of it, though, I thought it was good.
It did.
Some people, I had breakfast with a friend, and I was like, I put my wig on for you, and she's like, it looks just like you. She's like, you did such a good job picking one. She's like, it looks just like you.
Which matters. I mean, I'm sure that gave you a boost for your friend to say.
I will say, wearing a wig is hard. Because what did I say? Every part of me is hurting. And so sometimes even just having something on my scalp was irritating, painful.
You couldn't wear it for
So I couldn't wear it for long periods of time. And I could really only wear it at certain times during, those off weeks. So it's not just as simple as, oh, just put a wig on. Well, what day is it? And how long do I have to have it on? And, there was some thought. I loved having my wig and being able to put it on and feel normal, feel somewhat healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just something that I couldn't just wear it all the time, 7 days a week.
Well, let's take a quick break.
Great.
All right. And then we're going to pick up once we come back in how 2024 unfolds.
Okay.
And I can tell you, this has been one of the most powerful interviews that I've been able to experience on the show. And 2024, I know, brought a ton of challenges, but also a ton of growth opportunities. And that's what I really want us to get into in the next. So let's just take a break and we'll come back and get into 2024.